I'm Martin Brown, and I'm a product manager within the EP business. So I've been at Siemens for around about 10 years now, and I've been in the product management team for the duration of my time at Siemens. And I look after a number of the products that sit within the Sirius portfolio, and one of those includes Sirius ACT. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. We're going to do a quick overview on Sirius ACT for those of you that aren't aware of the product already, and then we're going to jump into a live demo of the Sirius ACT configuration tool. So what we're going to be doing within the configuration tool is showing you obviously how easy it is to use that tool and to build things like customized enclosures, how to select the correct products if you want to build up the Sirius ACT with PROFINET setup, and then we're going to also quickly show you how to create single components and put unique inscriptions onto things like push buttons, LEDs, etc. My contact details are on the screen at the minute, so if you have any questions that come to you after this live meeting is finished, then please by all means get in touch with me by that means, and obviously I'm on LinkedIn as well. So first of all, we're going to look at Sirius ACT. So this design line was well needed. We launched it around 5 years ago, and there were 4 key areas that were looked at when we were developing this product. So it's got a high IP rating for the majority of the products. All have this highest IP rating of IP69K. So this is our standard IP rating. We have 4 design lines within Sirius ACT as well. So we have plastic, matte metal, shiny metal, and then we have a flat matte metal as well. And we have more than 1,500 basic types, and then we have more than 2,000 accessories. So it's a large portfolio. And we've got great communication options. So we've got things like RZ and IO link, and then we've also got the PROFINET gateway, which is available as well and unique to Siemens. With regards to installation, this was key when designing the new products. They're designed to be really easy to install. No special tools are needed, just a standard screwdriver, and they really are quick and easy to install these products. As I say, we've got 4 design lines, so we've always had plastic and shiny metal, even with the old 3SP3 range, but now we have 2 additional product lines as well. So we have the matte metal, and then we have the flat matte metal. So the plastic, shiny metal and matte metal are all 22mm holes, and the flat matte metal is a 30mm hole for the install. Like I say, the install is really quick and easy. You just have a 22mm hole, no special notches or anything, just a circular 22mm hole. You insert the push button, snap the holder on the back, screw up the one screw clockwise to secure the holder, and then snap your contact blocks on the back. And it is possible to stack those contact blocks as well. So like I say, it's really easy, really simple to install the product. Like I say, we've got great communication options available. So we have RZ and IO link modules, and they can be used both inside and outside the enclosures. We have an IO link ID key, which is unique to Siemens, and that's run over IO link. And then we also offer a PROFINET gateway as well. So with the PROFINET gateway, you would use the standard Sirius ACT buttons and holders. The only thing that's different is you wouldn't be using contact blocks on the back. You'd be using interface modules and terminal modules as well. So this is the PROFINET gateway. So we have the interface module. We have 3 versions of this. We have a safety version, and then we have 2 standard versions as well. So with the safety version, you'd put an e-stop on the front. You'd use a fail-safe PLC. You plug the PROFINET cable into the bottom of the interface module, and then you can daisy chain an additional 20 items off the back of it. You can only put the e-stop on the safety version, and you can't put it further down the line, but it's really easy. Again, it's been designed to be nice and simple to install. Again, no special tools needed. You install your devices, and then you cut the ribbon cable down to the desired length when you're daisy chaining off the interface module. One thing we have as well, if you're using competitors' products currently, or if you're using the old 3SP3 range that we used to offer, we have a really useful conversion tool, and this can be found on our industry mal page, where you can convert from the competitor products you can see on the screen over to the comparable Sirius ACT part number. I'll show you a link for that as well in a moment. But that's really easy to get the old part numbers and the competitors' part numbers over to the new Sirius ACT part numbers. So what we're going to be looking at today, like I say, is primarily the Sirius ACT configuration tool. It's a really simple, a really useful tool for building up things like enclosures like we're going to be showing you today. There are a number of ways you can get onto the configuration tool. It has its own URL, which you can see on the screen. So www.siemens.com/Sirius-ACT/configurator. And you can also find it in the TIA tool, which you can download to your desktop. So you can find it within the TIA selection tool. And then you can also find it on the industry mal as well. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So anyone can access the industry mal page. Hopefully you can see that now. So like I say, you don't need an account to be able to access the industry mal. So you'll be able to access the configurator tool. So what we have here, we have on the top of the page, you can put in part numbers to have a look at price and availability on products. And then we also have this selection tree down on the left-hand side. So we sit under low voltage controls and distribution. And then you can see we have an option here for configurators. So there are a number of configurators available. We have the Sirius ACT push button unit and indicator light one available there. Alternatively, you can also find the link for this tool under industrial controls. And then you would drill down further to command and signaling devices. And then you've got your Sirius ACT push buttons and indicator lights. Once you're there, it gives you some information on the products. And then you also get some useful links as well. So Sirius ACT has its own homepage. There's a link for it there. The configurator tool, a link there. The conversion tool, so I just mentioned this tool before. So you can find the link for that there as well. And then there's manuals and a link to Tier Portal as well further down the page. So we're going to click here into the configurator tool. It will just take a moment to load up. Okay, once we're in the tool, we can see on the top here, we have a blue line under the welcome. So this is where we are within the configuration tool. So you'll see this move as we go through the configuration. We have three boxes here. So we have actuators and indicators. So this is where you can build up items that you want to use within a panel. And that's what we're going to use to build up the Sirius ACT with PROFINET. So we're going to make sure that we select everything that's required for that setup. We're going to build up enclosures as well. So the majority of the time, I would say the configurator tool is used for building up enclosures. And then we can select single components, and then we can also modify single components as well by adding inscriptions to the devices. On the right-hand side, you can see we've got a new section here. So it hasn't actually been added to for a couple of years now, so it doesn't look like that's used particularly often. And then we can load configurations further down the page. So if you have a .ssf file, you can upload that here. If you want to look at a standard Sirius ACT part number, you can put that part number in here to have a look at it. And then if you have a SIN number, so this SIN number is unique for a configuration. If you want to look at that or reorder a unique configuration that you've done previously, you can put that SIN number in there. So what we're going to start with first is building up an enclosure. So we simply select that selection, and then we can see that we've moved, this blue line has moved on to the configuration. So that's what we're in at the minute. So you can see everything is black. All the text is black on here, none of it's blue. So that means we can move on to the next page if we're happy with the pre-selected selections that you see on the screen. So on the bottom right hand side we see we have a continue, so it's in dark grey. If we hover over that, it turns to a dark grey. So we can move to the next page if we're happy with this configuration. So the default settings that are put in, we have communication capability first of all. So you can select it without, which it's defaulted to. So that means you would just wire the enclosure once you've received it. You can select RZ or IO link modules to go inside your enclosure if that's what you need. And then we have the options for the push buttons that you want to use within the enclosure. So as I said before, we have 4 options, but you can only see 3 on here. So the 3 that you see on the screen are all 22mm versions of the push buttons that we offer. So that's all that you can select to use within our enclosures. So we're going to stick with black plastic standard push buttons. We have the operational voltage. So we offer 24 volt, 110 and 230 volt. We also do multi-voltage ones as well. And you'll find that the multi-voltage options are slightly more expensive. So if you do know the voltage that you're using, then probably best to choose those to keep the cost down. We also have a couple of connection types available. So we have screw and spring terminals available, and we have this for the majority of the Sirius products. But we're going to stick with standard screw terminals for this example. So we're happy with everything that we can see here. So we're going to continue to the next page. So you can see on the left hand side now we have an area which will be populated with an image once we've selected the number of command points that we want for our enclosure. So we can select complete enclosure if we wish. So with the complete enclosure we have some devices that have already been built up and are readily available off the shelf. If you selected that, then you can go through and select a complete enclosure. But what we're going to do is build up a customized enclosure. So this is unique for us, what we're building up. If you're unsure of the question that's being asked, I mean, they're all pretty simple questions, but if you are unsure, we have an I over on the right hand side. If you hover over that, it will give you further information. So hopefully that will clear up any confusion that you could possibly have. If you want to change your selection, you can alter it here, or you could actually undo it by using this back red arrow that you see at the top. So we're going to do a customized enclosure, and we're going to stick with the plastic material. We can do metal as well. And then we have a number of command points that we can choose. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, or 6. So there isn't an option for 5 command points. If that was something that you needed, you could always select an enclosure with 6 command points and then put a blanking plug in that one command point that wasn't required. If we select 1 command point here, you can see we have an option further down for the top part of it, so it can either be grey or yellow. So it should update in a second. Okay, it doesn't seem to be updating. So we offer grey and yellow options for 1 or 2 command points, but for 3, 4, or 6, they can only be available in grey. So we're going to select, for this example, 3 command points. We're going to leave it without any communication, it's selected as grey. Also, if we selected a command point with one position, they also can be selected with a shroud as well. So that's something else that is available, but only with one command point. So for our example, you can see that it's updated this image on the left. So we are straight away given an update as to what our configuration is looking like. How do we want the mounting direction to be for the push buttons? So you can either have it vertical or horizontal. So we're going to stick with vertical. And we're going to stick with screw terminals, and we're going to stick with floor mounting as well. So base mounting, which is what you'll more than often find with items going inside enclosures. The only thing that we have that you probably want a front mounting would be if you choose a command point with one command point, and then you can then put something with a 4-position holder on there. So a 4-position switch, a joystick, and they can be mounted on the front, but for everything else it's going to be floor mounting. We also have an option at the bottom for customer specific product ID. So this is ideal for distributors really. So this can be populated, and whatever text is put in there will then show on an order list and also on a product label. So obviously if a distributor is ordering multiple products for different end customers of theirs, they can fill that out, so then they know when the product comes into them who that order is for specifically. We don't need to fill anything out there, so we can continue to the next page. So again, we've moved along here. We're now on command points. You can see on the left-hand side, we have a small red box. So that shows that we're working on the first command point. So we don't want it to be a ceiling plug. We've already picked the material that we want to use, so plastic, black version. And then we're going to select the actuating element that we want to use. So the majority of Sirius ACT products can be used inside the enclosure. So we have a huge range of options available. So for this option, we're just going to put in a standard push button. We're not going to illuminate it. So you can see as you're making selections, you get other options that pop up. So we're going to select a standard green push button for this. And we're going to decide that it's just a flat standard push button. And we want it to be momentary rather than latching. So you can see again, we've got another image here that's come up. So we're working on this one device. We've got the push button here, we've got the holder. This is all plastic. It's asking if we want to do an inscription on it. So for this example, we're not going to do any inscriptions, but we'll look at that element of the tool later on. So you can see we've still got a section here that's in blue. So we need to fill this out before we can move on to the next section. And they're modules that go on the back. So we offer normally open and normally closed contact blocks. We also offer gold-plated contacts for enhanced durability, but a standard contact block is fine for this example. So we'll put one normally open contact block, and if we want no other modules on this point, then we must put those in as well. And if we scroll down further, we have accessories for the command point. So if we select that, we can add a labeling plate if we want to here, and we can also add a small protective collar around this button if we wanted to. But I'm happy with that selection. So if we want to move on to command point 2 or B, we just need to select this tiny little blue icon, and there we've moved on to the second command point. So for this, we'll just put in a selector switch. And we will illuminate this. And the color of the selector switch will select a white one. and then we can select whether it's a rotary, select a switch, whether we want that to be long or short. So we'll just go for a selector short version. And then again, we've got momentary latching, and then we can have momentary contact to the left, latching to the right, or the opposite way around. So we'll select latching. We can do 2 positions. And because we've selected that we wanted to illuminate this selector switch, an LED has been put in there for you. So whatever color, so because we've selected white, a white LED color will be selected automatically for the 3rd module. So that sits in the middle, so that illumination can be seen when that selector switch is used. We still need to add in contact blocks. So we have a normally open contact as well. And we'll put another one in on the other side. Again, further down, you can add accessories if you wanted to. The other thing that we can do as well, if we've decided halfway through the configuration that I've put that selector switch in the wrong area, I want to move it up, we just use these arrows. So we can change the position that the selector switch sits within the enclosure. So we can move it up and down. So it's really easy to make alterations halfway through. I think someone's just joined. If you don't mind muting, that'd be helpful. Thanks for that. Okay, so we're going to select the 3rd option now on the enclosure. So the final option, we're going to put in, let's put in an e-stop for this. And we won't illuminate this. And the diameter of the e-stop, so we have 2 options, 30 or 40 mil. We do offer larger than that, but for obvious reasons they're not available here because they would start to sit over devices that are above them on the enclosure. So we're going to go for a 40 mil diameter e-stop. No inscription, and we're just going to add in a couple of normally closed contact blocks because it's an e-stop. Okay. Now, once everything's been selected, we can now select continue. So you can see now it will allow us to get through on the bottom right hand side to the next page. So as long as we're happy with the configuration, which we are, we can select continue. But by all means, we can go back and make changes if we wish in the future. So we have some accessories here that can be selected. So we can have enclosure cover monitoring, and we can select support terminals, black, blue, or yellow and green if needed. And then we have connection accessories as well. So we have M12 connections. We also have a standard cable glands. So for this option, we're just going to put a standard cable glands on this. And again, we can select continue to go through. So if you're logged into the MAL, you have an account, it will give you the price of the product. So the price, they are slightly more expensive to order through the configurator tool. It's about 14 or 15% increase over buying the item separately, but the product will come ready assembled, so you're just ready to basically wire it up and away you go. But if you want to buy the items individually, you can see here, if you expand the plus buttons, it gives you a breakdown of every item that's been selected inside the enclosure. Also, this can be exported to Excel. So you can give that to your distributor if that's who you're going to order through. Or if you just want to take it offline, you can export that information. There are further tabs that you can see along the top. So this again gives you information on the products that have been selected inside the enclosure. We also have the enclosure structure as well. So we can see the front of the enclosure, and then we can also see inside the enclosure. Again, this can be downloaded as a PDF. And then we have the exploded drawing as well. So this is a really useful drawing, so we can see exactly what's been selected, both inside and outside the enclosure. Just takes a moment to load up. So there we go. We also have CAD files that can be downloaded, so they're all available. We won't go through that today, but CAD files can be downloaded from the configuration tool as well. So we have on the bottom right hand side, if you clicked add to cart, if you had an account, an IndustryMal account, this would add all the products to your shopping cart. We also have a save SIN. So if we click on save SIN, we have an article number. So this article number is a part number for a configured 3-position enclosure. So it's not unique, but the SIN number is unique. So for this specific configuration that's been done here, we have this unique SIN number. So this unique SIN number can be used if you want to place repeat orders, if you want to reorder the exact same configuration, or say perhaps you've decided you want to make a small alteration to that configuration, you can put this in on the start of the configuration tool, and then you can make small alterations to the configuration, and then you'll be given a brand new SIN number for that new configuration at the end. The good thing as well, if say perhaps you lost that number, but you still have the hardware, on the label plate that sits at the side of the enclosure, there would be the SIN number printed on the side of there as well. So you can always find it on the actual configured enclosure. Okay, so what we'll do now, we'll go back to the welcome screen. And just bear with me 1 second. So what we're going to show now is looking at building up the PROFINET Sirius ACT setup. So we can do that through actuators and indicators. So if we select that, a pop-up's going to come up saying that the previous configuration, basically we're going to lose that information unless you've already saved that SIN number. That's going to be gone. So I've saved the SIN number, so I'm happy to lose the information that's stored within the current configuration tool that we're working on. Okay, so pop-up comes up saying the front panel is not included in delivery. So what we're selecting here is just the hardware. No panel is going to be included. It's just going to be the Sirius ACT products that you'd get at the end of the configuration. So what we have on option here, so we can select basically whatever you want. But I find this way of selecting products really good for making sure that you don't miss something within a certain configuration. So we're going to build up a PROFINET setup now, but it's quite easy if you're ordering multiple devices to actually miss something. But if you order through this route, it's going to flag up if you've forgotten things, and it's going to avoid that issue where you get all the parts arriving on site and then you have perhaps maybe a ribbon cable or a contact block or whatever it may be missing, and it's been an oversight when you've been selecting the devices that you need. So this is a really good tool for making sure you've got everything that's required. So we're going to build up a PROFINET gateway setup with this. So we've selected PROFINET. With this, we can put all 4 design lines on this, but we're just going to put the metal shiny versions. It's only available, the PROFINET setup, with 24 volt DC, so that's pre-selected. And then we've got options for screw or spring terminals, so we're going to stick with screw for this. Okay, so again, we've got this small red box around the first device here on the left-hand side. And we can see, because we've selected PROFINET, a note come up saying a PROFINET line can be made up a maximum of 21 command points with 1 interface module and up to 20 terminal modules. So you can have a maximum of 21 command points. So yeah, you've got, like it says, 1 interface module and then up to 20 terminal modules that can be daisy chained off the back. So you've got the PROFINET cable that goes into the interface module, and then you've got ribbon cable that connects the interface modules together. So you can use standard Sirius ACT products on the PROFINET setup. The only thing that's different is you're not going to be using contact blocks, LEDs, things like that on the back. You're going to be using either interface modules or terminal modules on the back. Okay, so we're going to select an e-stop for the first device. So you can only put an e-stop on the interface module, and it has to be the safety version of the interface module as well. It's still possible to illuminate the e-stop, but for this example, we're not going to do that today. So it's saying here that you've got to use a safety interface module. It's a mandatory requirement for an e-stop device. And we can see it's starting to build up here. So we've got the interface module here, and we can see it's safety because it's yellow. The standard versions are black. And because we've selected metal shiny as the devices that we're using, it's a metal holder. And all we need to do is decide the shape of the handle on the e-stop. So we'll go for a slightly bigger one for this one, 60mm. So again, this is updating as we're going through. So once we're happy with that first item, we can then select the next hole on the panel. So command point B. And what we're going to do is put on the next device that we're going to use within this PROFINET setup. So we're going to stick with metal, and we can put just a push button. We'll not illuminate this. Put a blue one. And it's just a flat version. Obviously, it doesn't matter what we select for this device, but what I'm trying to show you is that it will come up at the bottom that we've got the module selection now. So we've got a terminal module that can be selected, and because we've selected a push button that doesn't need to be illuminated, it's just a command only terminal module that's been selected. So it automatically brings up the correct terminal module for your selection of push button. If we move on to the next device, we can put in an indicator light. So for indicator lights, we offer both modular and compact. So the compact versions come with the lens and the LED all integrated as one. They can't be used on the PROFINET setup because the actual LED element of it comes out the back of the holder. So it has to be modular devices that are used within the PROFINET setup. And they have to be products that sit on a 3-position holder. So that is the majority of the Sirius ACT portfolio. So the majority of the products can be used with the PROFINET setup. So like I say, we need to select modular version for this. And the color of the actuator, we'll go for a green LED. So we're not going to put any inscriptions on this. We can see the module selection, again, has come up with the correct one. We just want an LED terminal module. So we offer command only, LED only, and then we offer command and LED as well. So for the final version, the final item, I should say, on this command point, D, we're going to select a selector switch. We will illuminate this. And we'll select a white one. Short. Finally, select if we want it latching. Switch positions. Okay. And then we've got the terminal module, so we can see it's command and LED. And it automatically, again, has selected the correct LED color for the selection. So the LED color will have been green for this one, and then the LED color will be white for this one, for command and LED. So it automatically selects the correct items for your configuration. So once we're happy with what we've selected, like it says, you can build up as many as you want. Within the PROFINET selection, we can have up to 21 devices. And if we select continue, it will come up saying that you need a ribbon cable to connect the devices. So we select a 5-meter one, and 7-pole ribbon cables that can be selected. Once we've clicked continue, excuse me, we can then see we've got all the command points listed here, and if you open them up, it will give you all the part numbers for the command points that you've been configuring. We can add this to cart, so that would take you through to the industry mile again, and you could place your order if you wish. Again, you can export this if you're going to order through a distribution partner, and you can give them all the part numbers that you've selected. There is no SID number for this, because obviously what you're doing with this is just selecting items that haven't been configured. It's only when you make configurations, make alterations, that you'd get a unique SIN number. So hopefully that will show you that it's nice and easy. It's a good way, a nice and easy way of making the correct selections for things like the PROFINET setup that we offer within Sirius ACT. So we go back to the welcome page one more time, and we've got single components. So under single components, you can select single items. And what I'm going to show you now, so again, it's coming up with a warning saying we're going to lose the previous configuration. We're fine with that. So what I'm going to show you within the single components is how to set up inscriptions that can go onto the actual push buttons, indicator lamps. Pretty much the majority of the Sirius ACT products you can now inscribe onto them. So even on the bezels of things like selector switches, you can put small inscriptions on those as well. So we're going to select actuators and indicators for this, and we're going to do it with a push button. So I think it looks really good on the 30mm design line, because we have quite a big bezel that goes around it, so it gives us more room to put more information on there. So we select the 30mm. We're not going to illuminate this, and we'll select a blue push button for this. Okay, once we've made our selections, we've got type of inscription here. So obviously we've seen that as we've gone through previous configurations. You can put in any free text, but obviously this predetermines the font and also the size of that, but you can choose that option if you wish. You can make a selection from standard text. So in a number of different languages, there's standard text available, but it does put it in at quite a small font. So I would check that you're happy with that before selecting that option. We have a selection of symbols that can be selected as well. So here we can make a selection from a number of symbols that are available, or we can use the labeling tool. So if we choose to use the labeling tool, we select the button here. So to call the labeling tool, and it will open a new page or a new tab. So what we can see is the button that we've selected, and then we can choose what we want to put onto that button, and indeed around the outside of it as well. So for this, we can put text, we can put pictures as well. So for this example, I'm going to put text on the outside, on the bezel. So we select that area, and then we put in the text that we want to add to the bezel. So we can then change the actual font, and we can also change the size of the font as well. And then once we're happy with that, we can then add a picture. So there's default images that can be added, which can be selected. We can do a symbol search if we wish, or we can upload a custom image as well. So if we select to upload custom image, it gives you the information that you can see on the screen about the type of files that can be uploaded. So the images that can be uploaded, they tend to be printed in either two colors, depending on the color of the LED or the push button. So they're either going to be in this slightly silvery color or black. So we're going to upload an image now. Okay, so I've got a Siemens logo, which I'm going to upload. So it comes in slightly too large there, but it's not a problem. We can alter the size of it. Still a little bit too big, but it's no problem because we can make any adjustments that we want to the size of that. So you can see, I think that looks pretty nice. The good thing about it as well, it's laser etched onto the button. So over a period of time, you're not going to see that wears off. So once we're happy with our setup, we can transfer it to the configurator. And then we can see it's updated here, and then we can click continue. So again, we've been given the price of the product. We've got a part number here. So this part number is just for a 30mm button that's blue. So that part number isn't unique, but again, you've got your unique SIN number for that configured item. So you can save that configuration. If you wanted to make repeat orders, you just pop that in on the home screen. So I'll just quickly show you again where that can be put. So I earlier on saved the SIN number from the enclosure. So at the bottom of the page, we have an area to enter the SIN number. So we can put in that SIN number, click open. And there you can see, this is the configuration that we did a little bit earlier on. So you can see it's really easy, nice and simple to be able to bring up your old configuration, and we can go in and make alterations, like I said, if we wanted to. So we can undo and make small changes to that configuration. So that concludes everything I was going to go through today. Hopefully you've found it useful. Hopefully you've also found that the fact that it's a really simple and easy tool to use, and you can get some really nice looking products. You can configure your own enclosures and your own push buttons, and like I say, you can make selections where you know you're going to get everything that you need for your configuration, like that Sirius ACT with PROFINET. If anyone's got any questions, then please feel free to ask them now.
Is there no questions from anyone? No, everybody happy? Okay. Thank you everybody for joining us this afternoon. Really appreciate your time. Obviously, bear in mind the agenda for the rest of the week. If there's anything that you've seen today that you think colleagues, associates would be interested in, obviously they can stream it from the website once it's been uploaded. But obviously we've got protection techniques, network calculations, short circuit calculations, etc., and simmer code coming later in the week. And the previous session with Danny Devine is also going to be uploaded onto the website if it's not already been done so. So thank you everybody for your time. I'm going to stop the recording now, and I'd like to say wish you farewell, and hope you all stay safe. All right, take care. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Thank you. Cheers, Mark. Thank you.